morning. This is going to be a kind of a different presentation from the one that you just saw, because what we are setting out to do is something relating to transforming healthcare, not only in India, but which is where we are based, but across almost all developing countries. So we started about 2 years ago when we started thinking about this with a basic question saying, how could we change healthcare for the rest of the world? How could we make it in a way where people could access healthcare from their doorsteps? How would it be if we could integrate everything about healthcare? The entire ecosystem could be brought together, which today remains very fragmented. And so what we set out to do was, in many ways, a first time in the world transformational process that we set out to do. So let me just give you a sense of what I have in mind here. Clearly, it's a 8 trillion global market, with India alone expected to see a 20%, almost 17% growth year on year, expected to touch about 280 billion in a very, very short time frame of the next 4 years or so. If you look at the medical science, it has been pushing the boundaries of excellence, but what continues to happen is that it remains concentrated in a few cities, in a few locations. It is not equally spread out to all, geographically to everyone, as well as across all sections of the society. Most important is the fact that today, healthcare is something where, whether it is your clinic, the diagnostic labs, the let's say pharmacy, everything is out there and they are not necessarily connected to each other. And what we have set out to do is to bring about a change in that. Truth is, there are a few organizations that have brought some of these offerings closer to you. I mean, you know of organizations that do nursing at home or physiotherapy at home or manage to deliver medicines at home in some parts of the world. But what continues to remain is that they are all very, very fragmented. So what did we do? We as an organization came up with what we would call as an integration of the physical space. There were things such as the doctor, the diagnostic labs, the pharmacies, you name it, the nursing profession, all of that which remains today fairly separate, we tied it all together and we brought the entire set of physical services in one platform. So we are an organization that has a set of people who could deliver these services at home. We also did another thing. We looked at currently some of the virtual players and we said, there are people who enable second opinion. There are people who enable e-consultation. There are folks who enable e-wellness. What really doesn't happen is somebody who gives you all of that in one place. So we built a platform which brought together all the virtual services under one technology frame. Now what it means is that as a patient, as a customer, you have the choice to seek the services at home. You have the choice to access the services virtually, or even go visit any of those doctors or clinics that you may choose to do. So we brought in the opportunity to integrate the entire physical set of services and the entire set of virtual services in such a way that it benefits a person. But here is where the real story begins. Some of you who probably listened to Shantanu just now would know that he talked about his biggest excitement being the power of data in healthcare. What I think we're bringing forth as a dramatic change is something that has never been truly done before, which is bring the entire data around a person integrated in a single platform. So whether it is your food supplements, prescriptions, imaging, whatever you get from diagnostic labs, your doctor prescriptions, every one of these today is in an e-form and is integrated. So what we have done is not only integrate the physical set of services that could be provided at home, not only have we connected all the virtual services that enables you to connect with the ecosystem through the telemedicine or whatever it may be, and it also helps you to kind of make sure that all the data relating to that stays integrated in one platform, which means you could access that information anytime from a single place. And not only that, we have made sure that the right levels of data security and access have been built into that. So what we have done is truly bring forth a vertical integration of the healthcare ecosystem, a horizontal integration of the healthcare ecosystem that enables the physical, virtual, and data integration in a seamless fashion. Now, this has taken about 600 man-years of effort over the last 2 years to build it together. It's a platform that we built ground up with all kinds of facilities such as info aids, which helps the doctor to explain which part of the body is probably causing the illness that you have. It enables them to explain to the patient what is the current issue and how it can be improvised. So it has visual aids that helps to reduce the complexity of understanding. So what we have done is, in truth, put the customer at the center of the healthcare ecosystem and shifted the paradigm from the doctor, which has traditionally been the case. That's a big shift, and for the first time in the world that an integrated platform has been built of this order. Moving forward, what you see here is a typical example of how we have kind of brought forth a seamless integration of the physical and the virtual. Traditionally, most of the services that you see would be that you connect to a doctor virtually, but what we have done is in every geography that we operate, we will have something called a point of presence, which is approximately 4 to 5 square kilometers of space, where medical health officers or mobile health officers, if we call it, people with nursing experience of about 5 years or so, are available. And when somebody calls for a doctor consultation, the doctor could ask for this medical health officer to come home to your place in under 30 minutes. And the person reaches the home, takes down some of your vitals, does your basic check, enters the data into the system, connects you to the doctor virtually so that the doctor has the information when they talk to you. And then the conversation goes on. So what we have done is bring forth an interesting mix of high tech and high touch so that it doesn't remain purely distant, but there is a physical sensor of the doctor that is on the ground in front of the patient. What we believe is that when somebody calls us for healthcare, they're calling us at the lowest state of their mind, which is when they're really down, when you're down with health, and you have to make sure that the service is of the highest quality and it can be scaled up. So what you see here is an actual mission control center which tracks every transaction that we have with only two things that we show, green or red. Is the service happening on time? Has the customer experience been green or red? We track it real time online so that we are able to actually see how many crash landings we have, and we are able to correct it. So what we tell ourselves is that this is almost like an air traffic control that monitors every takeoff and every landing of a customer experience that we enable. And so this is something that we are very proud of. Most important, and when you listen to Vishal Sikka, he probably talked about the difference between the atoms and the bits and the level of disintermediation that happens. I want you to kind of remember this because this is, in my opinion, the fundamental change that we are bringing in, not only in terms of what we are doing for the healthcare industry, but the way we are going about doing it. What we have done is to create a stakeholder experience platform which enables every healthcare professional or every customer or every officer to look at the stakeholder experience center, to give the input or to take the output, as the case may be. What it means is that when an officer comes home and provides a service, the detail is entered into the system through a click of a button, and that information becomes an input to the next stakeholder who has to service whatever it is. So if it's a lab report that has come in, that goes in as a report to the doctor who has to do the necessary consultation thereafter. So what we have created is, in a manner of speaking, seamless exchange of information between different stakeholders so that there is no loss of information in a very critical exercise like healthcare. So we call it the equivalent of a stock exchange. You can be a buyer or a seller. At some point of time, you're essentially giving an input or taking an input, and the whole process happens seamlessly across different stakeholders in the organization. So this, for us, has been a big game changer on whatever we have set out to do. So just kind of reflects the input and the output that happens between the stakeholders. Now, in terms of the offerings, we have different offerings. You have, like I said, drugs at home, facilitation that helps you take you to a hospital for tertiary care. There is listing and appointment services, and so on and so forth. We looked at the different sections of the society that we address, and we know that our biggest universe would be the middle income group and the upper middle income group. And that's where the maximum marketing focus and technology adoption is happening right now. And of course, there are others in the higher income group or the lower income group who also use the services for different areas. So our marketing plans are targeted at those. We're starting with Hyderabad, which is a city in India, approximately 8 million people, and we intend to scale it over the next 36 months to a universe of about 500 million people covering about 60 urban towns. And in the last In the last 2 months that we have started, we have had 4,000 customers, and we are running on a daily rate of about 200. So thank you so much for this opportunity.